these appearances, coupled with what I understand is going to be the equivalent of a nuclear bomb dropped on the Democratic Party when Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book come out next week.
What is your response to these allegations, or are these sources wrong?
They are wrong. There's nothing to sustain that.
Well, I think it's safe to say Democrats are about to face one of the worst case scenarios we've ever seen for the Democrat Party. Joe Biden is back, but that's not the worst case scenario. This is what's happening.
I will just say, watching him over the last few days reminded me that a whole bunch of people were telling us with a straight face that this man was capable of serving another 4 years as president. And that these appearances, coupled with what I understand is going to be the equivalent of a nuclear bomb dropped on the Democratic Party when Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book come out next week, I don't know that the Democrats have fully internalized what's about to happen to them. Between what he looks like today and what they're about to report,
This is where things get rather interesting, and this is why Democrats are freaking out. Joe Biden has showed up out of nowhere to talk about a book that exposes his mental decline and exposes people covering up his mental decline. Check this clip out.
What is your response to these allegations, or are these sources wrong?
They are wrong. There's nothing to sustain that, number one. You know, one of the things that Well, and
Alyssa, one of the things I think is that the people who wrote those books were not in the White House with us.
He and his team are clearly very aware that his legacy is being written right now. And they feel and have this strong sense that they need to fight back and shape the narrative. He immediately got into rattling off accomplishments from his term in office. And I think it's in breaking with a lot of past precedent from other presidents who generally let their legacy breathe and kind of go off into the sunset and let someone else come into their roles.
Now, don't worry, it gets even worse. But logically speaking, somebody has to be lying. If Joe Biden is saying one thing, and a book and left-leaning media and a bunch of other Democrats are saying another thing, who is lying and who is to blame? But check this out.
From Barack and Michelle Obama, which does not endorse Kamala Harris. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton have come out to endorse her. President Biden endorsed her. But here's what the Obamas say. We will be navigating uncharted waters in the days ahead, but I have extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges.
Remember, the Bidens and the Obamas did not initially endorse Kamala Harris. This is crucial because now we know, because of these books, there were cover-ups, people were lying, there was friction going on behind the scenes, but the American public was told Kamala Harris is the best candidate ever and she's going to beat Donald Trump. Meanwhile, that was not what was happening behind the scenes.
You said that he told Kamala Harris that she could not have any distance from him.
It's been reported. He told
it doesn't
her
matter what he
blank.
was.
He told her point blank, no daylight, kid, no daylight.
Because reporting can never be wrong?
Are you attacking the journalism around it?
You think reporting can never be wrong?
If you come in and
you come on here and you attack reporting every night.
I do not.
We actually asked him the question
There's critical
directly.
reporting about this guy, and he told her point blank, no daylight.
We asked him directly today. Did you tell her that?
You think he's ever told a lie?
I don't think he tells many lies.
Cognitive decline, I can tell you that much.
I don't think he tells many lies. I don't think he's done a...
Come on.
Wait. No, you know why you don't get to laugh like that? Because you support a guy who lies every freaking day and lies continuously. You support a guy who cannot acknowledge that he lost the 2020 election and that lies about it.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's in Jake. Have you read it? Have you?
So I hope you caught what Scott Jennings is doing. He's pinning the media against Biden and Biden against the media, because no matter what, this is a worst case scenario for all Democrats. Because if Joe Biden is not lying, this means the media is lying. If the media is not lying, this means Joe Biden is lying. And no matter what, everybody goes down together.
There's an excerpt from a book from Jonathan Allen and Amy Parnes fighting the fight inside the wildest battle for the White House that references you. It says you could see what they saw even if you wouldn't say it. This is awful. He, this being you, Senator Coons, thought as the debate hit the halfway mark, damn, this is really not picking up. The back half wasn't as bad, he convinced himself, but it was hardly good. He knew he would be a lead member of the cleanup crew, and while Democrats peed their pants. Peeing their pants was nothing new. They were right that the president had S the bed.
As you can see, this is why Republicans have such an issue with Democrats right now. If this is what you were saying behind the scenes, why were you going on national television and talking about everything is A-okay with Joe Biden? Let's see what he has to say.
If you felt that way, maybe you shouldn't have criticized Democrats for their reservations about President Biden at the time. Do you wish you had done things differently at this point?
Well, John, obviously, if I had any idea that President Biden was going to perform as poorly as he did at that debate, I would have been advising him differently and advocating differently. That debate performance was the first time I saw anything like that out of President Biden. He had been and was a strong and capable president, and he still had strong public performances, interviews, and just the next day went to North Carolina and spoke forcefully at a rally. But I was shocked. I was genuinely surprised by that performance that evening, Senator, and was wrestling with what it meant for our path forward.
Now, don't worry, I already have the receipts. I'm going to show you a montage of how Democrats have had plenty of time to know something may be going up with Joe Biden, and the American public all saw it, but for some reason, Democrats were just ignoring it.
Will you pledge that if you're elected, you will be transparent about your health, all facets of your health, with urgency, so that we know?
Yes.
One poll shows that almost 2/3 of Democratic voters want a new nominee in 2024, and the top reason they gave was your age. You know, that's not a good number for President Biden. 2/3 of the American people say he's not sharp enough to be president.
Yeah, I mean, how can you use the bully pulpit when you don't have a bully you can put in the pulpit?
Okay, so you're part of the 23% of adults who are not concerned about the president's ability to be president because of his age and stamina. I mean, I know incumbents in general are not popular right now, but do you ever think maybe we should have a new candidate?
There's a little bit of denialism with the president.
This is a particularly bad week for this report and its comments about President Biden's faculties and his memory to come out, because twice this week he has acted as if he, in 2021, spoke to European leaders who have been dead for years. Part of the job of president is having the confidence of the American people in your faculties.
The White House's response every single time it has come up for 3.5 years has been to deflect, to gaslight, to not tell the truth, not just to reporters, not just to other Democrats, but even at times to themselves.
So again, we are seeing a ton of Democrats say, look, after that debate, yeah, I had some problems, but if you didn't catch it, the beginning of that montage started in 2020. So there was a 4-year period where voters, Americans, were seeing Joe Biden and had questions, especially if you look at the polling and the data. But again, we keep hearing responses like this.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. You know, people tried to talk about the mental acuity of Joe Biden. And as someone who was able to interact with him, I never questioned his mental acuity. But come on now. Come on. Like, you are crashing the economy. We are talking about record.
The White House's response every single time it has come up for 3.5 years has been to deflect, to gaslight, to not tell the truth.
So I hope you can see how this is affecting everyone. This is why Scott Jennings is calling this a nuke, because it's not only about Joe Biden's inner circle. You can go all the way to Jasmine Crockett in 2025, and she will have to explain herself. Hold on, you just said you've never seen any mental decline, yet we have this book, and we have plenty of other people who are saying otherwise. Does this mean that you don't know what you're talking about?
I kind of came to that realization after watching the results come in that I'm not sure any Democrat was going to beat Donald Trump. It's something that we were able to reckon with after the election. But the reason being the economy, the headwinds, incumbency, those things were just pushing against Democrats in a way that it would have been very difficult for Kamala Harris or Shapiro or Stein or any.
Somebody who did not have the baggage of Joe Biden would have had a better shot.
Listen,
look, I think it's easy to say, well, nobody could have done it, but he also didn't let her.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Now Democrats are blaming the failures of Kamala Harris because of Joe Biden. He did not give her a sufficient chance, or he did not endorse her fast enough. Maybe because we didn't know that behind the scenes, a lot of people actually did not have that much faith in Kamala Harris.
Distance herself from
I
him.
think a couple of things.
He didn't let her do it.
One, I agree with Anna that he wants to probably get ahead of this. And it's better to do it now than in 2 years when we're actually running a Democratic primary. Let's talk about it. Let's get it done. Give the people the answers. And then we're moving on as a party. We're not forgetting Joe Biden, but we need to now then empower new leaders. I do agree with you, Bakari, that it was going to be hard for Democrats to win. The chances would have been substantially better if we would have had a primary after the midterms of 2022, and it would have been an open field. It would not have been a default to the vice president because she was a sitting vice president, because we had everyone says we don't have a bench. We have a lot of people that actually would have thrown their hats in the race. I also think that the vice president in those 100 days, it was almost an impossible task. And the fact that she did not distance herself when people were telling Democrats that they were experiencing pain, and we were saying, look at the facts, which is what this administration is doing right now, but I digress, that when she didn't distance herself, people were like, then I don't want any more of it. And I think those three things all put together is why we're all sitting at this table with Donald Trump as our president.
I hope you can see how the conversation is going in a completely different direction when the whole point of this is, hold on, if you knew this whole time that Kamala Harris really never had a chance, why were you pretending that she had a chance at all? And why were you not cleaning up your own Democrat Party, which is about to be happening very soon in the month of May? But check this clip out.
He needed, again, fluorescent tape on the floor to show him where to go. He needed teleprompters to talk to small groups, small donor groups. He would put on makeup early in the morning to do cabinet meetings, and then sometimes do the makeup and not do the meetings, right? So they all knew that there was a level of decline. I think there were varying appreciations for that. We talked to one person who said it was particularly steep in early 2024, but they were doing risk mitigation. How do we make it less likely that Joe Biden falls apart in front of the world?
So as you can see, no matter the scenario or situation, this is all terrible for everyone. Because if Kamala Harris had no idea this was going on with Joe Biden, were they even that close to begin with? What the heck was going on behind the scenes? We all want answers.
And I find this incredibly hard to believe, but CNN's Jake Tapper is the co-author of a new book detailing the cover-up of Joe Biden's cognitive decline by the Democrat Party. Remember, Jake was the guy who said this.
I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
you have
to watch somebody on stage
that's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses diagnosing politicians from afar.
Now, this is where Republicans are questioning the validity of these books. Are you trying to make some money? Are you trying to clear your name? Are you trying to get ahead of the herd before people throw you under the bus? What exactly is going on?
Emily, jeez, take it away.
That was the most phenomenal receipt I've ever seen in my entire life to destroy the credibility of this individual, essentially taking ownership of what we already knew. May this not go anywhere near the New York Times bestseller list, and may everyone point out exactly what it is, which is obvious. I also wonder at whose direction, he says him and Alex decided the next day to write this book, but at whose direction put that on that and also put on the cover his choice to run again. We already had the assassination attempt proverbially against Biden. Why is this even necessary other than to cover their own tracks for doing stuff like that for the last 4 years, which is covering up and apologizing for it?
Now, I do want to give a little credit to the left-leaning media. There are members of the media who are calling themselves out. But again, people are questioning, if you knew all of this was happening, why were you still reporting positive facts about Joe Biden? And now all of a sudden, when everything is said and done, now you are apologizing?
Now it's like, oh, yes, we knew all along. I mean, I like Jake, but come on, dude.
I kind of feel like when I found out that Kane and The Undertaker weren't really brothers. Right now, right? I mean, the mainstream media did everybody a huge disservice. not only the country, but also Joe Biden himself. They hurt everyone. And ultimately, when you ask who is running the country, well, now we found out it was a bunch of faceless bureaucrats. And thank goodness for Elon Musk and Donald Trump who are taking care of that.
Yeah.
So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm sure in the very near future, we are about to see some more fallouts. I am waiting for the book that has to do with Kamala Harris, but since Kamala is still in politics and people can still make money off of Kamala as far as working in her campaign, I hypothesize that is why we're not seeing any books yet. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you for being here. God bless, and we'll see you all later.